In the early hours of November 20, 2018, a luxurious mansion in the quiet, affluent town of Colts Neck, New Jersey, became the scene of one of the most horrifying family annihilations in the state's history. Flames tore through the sprawling home at 15 Willowbrook Road as firefighters rushed to the scene. What they discovered inside and outside the burning house would shock the community and reveal a story soaked in greed, betrayal, and cold-blooded calculation. A successful tech businessman had allegedly wiped out his own brother, sister-in-law, and 2 young children, not in a fit of rage but as part of a desperate plan to protect his stolen fortune. This is the brutal tale of Paul Caneiro and the Colts Neck Mansion Massacre, a case where family bonds were shattered by money, and one man chose millions over blood. Paul Caneiro, then 51 years old, lived what appeared to be a comfortable life in Ocean Township, just a short drive from his younger brother Keith's opulent estate. The 2 brothers had built a business empire together, or so it seemed. They co-owned EcoStar, a pest control company, and ran Square One, a computer consulting firm that served high-profile clients, including the Doris Duke Charitable Foundation. Keith held the majority stake in the more profitable Square One, while Paul took a smaller share. On paper they were partners. In reality, a deep financial rot had been festering for months, perhaps years. Prosecutors would later claim that Paul had been secretly siphoning money from the companies and from a trust account meant for insurance and other payments. He allegedly altered bank statements, diverted funds into his own accounts, and collected disability or insurance payments while still drawing a salary. When Keith began to notice discrepancies, unpaid premiums to Canada Life Assurance and suspicious transfers, the fragile alliance between the brothers started to crack. That fateful night, the power went out at Keith Caneiro's mansion. Around 3:14 a.m., Keith sent a series of frantic text messages to his brother Paul, complaining about the total AC failure and the generator not working properly. He was heading outside to check on it. Those would be among his last communications. According to the prosecution's case, Paul arrived at the property under the cover of darkness. He confronted his brother near the generator outside the home and unleashed a barrage of violence. Keith Caneiro, 50 years old, was shot 5 times, 4 bullets to the head and 1 to the torso. His body collapsed in the front yard, left exposed as the horror moved indoors. Inside the mansion, the slaughter continued with chilling efficiency. Keith's wife, Jennifer Caneiro, 45, was shot and stabbed multiple times. She fought for her life, but the attack was relentless. Then came the children, innocent victims whose only crime was being part of the family that stood between Paul and his financial security. 11-year-old Jesse and 8-year-old Sophia were repeatedly stabbed. Their small bodies were left in the house as Paul allegedly set the mansion ablaze, hoping the flames would destroy evidence and turn the crime into a tragic accident or random attack. The fire raged, consuming parts of the luxurious home and leaving behind charred remains and a nightmare that would haunt Colts Neck for years. But Paul wasn't done. In what prosecutors described as a clumsy attempt to create a diversion and make it look like someone was targeting both brothers, he allegedly set fire to his own home in Ocean Township shortly afterward. The dual blazes were meant to confuse investigators, perhaps suggesting a broader threat or insurance scam gone wrong. Instead, they only drew more scrutiny. Paul himself sustained minor injuries in the fire at his residence, injuries that would later become part of the evidence against him. By November 29, 2018, just days after the murders, Paul Caneiro was arrested and charged with 4 counts of murder, aggravated arson, weapons offenses, and later, insurance fraud. The motive, according to the state, was pure greed. Keith had discovered the theft, roughly $75,000 or more funneled away, altered documents, and missing payments. He was planning to confront the issues head-on, which threatened to cut off Paul's salary, his side income from the trust, and his entire lifestyle. Paul, who had been collecting disability payments while working, faced the prospect of losing everything if the businesses unraveled or if Keith took control. In the darker truth of this case, family wasn't sacred, it was an obstacle. Paul allegedly chose to eliminate the entire household rather than face exposure, bankruptcy, or prison for fraud. He didn't just kill his brother. He erased an entire branch of the family tree to protect his secrets and his money. For nearly 7 years, the case dragged through the courts. Delays from the COVID-19 pandemic, legal motions, and pretrial hearings kept the victims' families in agonizing limbo. Finally, in January 2026, the trial began in Monmouth County. Over several weeks, prosecutors presented a mountain of evidence. The altered bank statements, the text messages from Keith on that final night, Paul's injuries from the second fire, cell phone data placing him near the scenes, and the brutal nature of the wounds. The defense tried to point fingers elsewhere, suggesting another brother, Corey, or unknown intruders, but the jury wasn't convinced. On February 13, 2026, after less than 6 hours of deliberation, the jury delivered a swift and unanimous verdict. Paul Caneiro was found guilty on all counts, 4 counts of murder, aggravated arson, weapons charges, and related offenses. He sat motionless as the verdict was read. The courtroom filled with emotion from the victim's extended family, who had waited years for justice. Sentencing was scheduled for May 12, 2026, where Paul faces the very real possibility of life in prison without parole. Even after the conviction, his legal team filed motions for a new trial, claiming the judge was hostile and that certain evidence should have been excluded. As of April 2026, prosecutors have pushed back hard, calling the evidence of his guilt overwhelming. What makes this case so disturbingly compelling is the banality of the evil at its core. Paul Caneiro wasn't a stranger or a career criminal in the classic sense. He was family, the older brother, the business partner, the man who should have protected Keith's children. Instead, he became their executioner. The children, Jesse and Sophia, died in terror, stabbed repeatedly in their own home. Jennifer fought back but couldn't save her family. Keith never made it back inside after checking the generator. All of it allegedly to cover up greed-fueled theft and to safeguard a lifestyle built on lies. This massacre exposes the darker truths about how money can corrupt even the closest bonds. In affluent suburbs like Colts Neck, where mansions hide behind gates and families project success, financial pressure can turn deadly. Insurance fraud, embezzlement, and betrayal don't always end in court filings. Sometimes they end in gunfire and flames. The Caneiro case reminds us that the most dangerous monsters aren't always lurking in the shadows. Sometimes they sit across the dinner table, sharing business plans and holiday meals, while quietly plotting destruction. Even now, in 2026, with Paul Caneiro convicted and awaiting sentencing, the pain lingers for those left behind. The community of Colts Neck still remembers the smoke rising from that mansion. The extended family grapples with unimaginable loss. And questions remain. How long had the theft been going on? Did Paul truly believe he could burn away the evidence and walk free? And what does it say about human nature when greed outweighs the lives of innocents, including 2 small children who deserved a future? The brutal Colts Neck Mansion massacre stands as a stark warning. Money may not be the root of all evil, but when combined with desperation and a complete lack of conscience, it can lead to the ultimate betrayal. Paul Caneiro didn't just destroy a family that night. He destroyed any illusion that blood is thicker than the desire for more. If this case shocked you, or if you want us to dive deeper into the trial evidence, the insurance fraud details, or similar family annihilation stories, let us know in the comments. Which part of this dark saga hit you hardest? The stolen money, the text from Keith, or the fate of the children? Drop your thoughts below, but remember to keep it respectful for the victims. Thank you for joining us on The Brutal Files, where we uncover real crimes and the darker truths they hide. If you haven't already, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Next time, we may explore another 2026 trial or a fresh update on a case still haunting the headlines. Until then, stay vigilant, because sometimes the greatest threats come from the people closest to you.